In a significant diplomatic maneuver reflecting escalating tensions in the Western Hemisphere, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio embarked on his inaugural foreign trip to Panama on February 1, 2025. This visit comes on the heels of President Donald Trump's provocative demand that the Panama Canal be returned to U.S. control, stirring both concern and resistance from regional leaders. Rubio's visit is not just a ceremonial occasion but a critical moment for U.S. Latin American relations, particularly as Trump intensifies pressure on neighboring countries. Just a day before Rubio's arrival, Trump announced substantial tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico, prompting swift retaliation from both nations. While Trump's approach is marked by economic coercion, Rubio aims to adopt a more diplomatic tone, focusing on shared interests such as migration and drug trafficking. Meeting with Panamanian President José Raúl Mulino. Rubio is expected to discuss not only the contentious issue of the canal but also broader regional challenges. Mulino has made it clear that there will be no negotiations regarding the canal's ownership, stating emphatically, "I cannot negotiate and much less open a negotiation over the canal. It is sealed. The canal belongs to Panama." This sentiment has been echoed by many Panamanians, some of whom have protested against Trump's assertions. Despite the firm stance from Panama, Rubio is tasked with conveying Trump's overarching concerns about illegal immigration and China's growing influence in the region. In a recent op-ed, Rubio highlighted the vulnerabilities posed by China's presence near the canal, underscoring the strategic threat it represents to U.S. interests. "We're going to address the topic," he noted before his trip. Acknowledging the challenges posed by the canal's management by a Hong Kong-based company, Hutchison Ports. Rubio's itinerary includes visits to El Salvador, Guatemala, Costa Rica, and the Dominican Republic, each stop aimed at reinforcing U.S. interests in curbing illegal immigration and addressing narcotics trafficking. In El Salvador, he will meet with President Nayib Bukele, who has drawn both admiration and criticism for his authoritarian style and aggressive gang crackdown. Part of Rubio's mission will be to persuade Bukele to restore a previous agreement allowing the U.S. to deport certain migrants back to El Salvador. The trip also unfolds amid a broader freeze on U.S. foreign assistance to Latin America, complicating Rubio's diplomatic efforts. Although the State Department has approved waivers for critical programs, the details remain sparse, leaving uncertainty about the U.S. commitment to its partners in the region. As Rubio navigates these complex discussions, he faces the challenge of reconciling Trump's hardline policies with the realities of regional diplomacy. The administration's strategy appears increasingly fragmented, especially given the concurrent visit of Richard Grenell, the president's envoy to Venezuela, who is pursuing a more aggressive stance with the Maduro regime. This dual approach risks undermining the collaborative efforts Rubio aims to foster in Central America. In conclusion, Rubio's trip to Panama and subsequent visits to other Central American nations mark a pivotal moment for U.S. foreign policy in the region. The outcomes of these discussions will likely shape the future of U.S. Latin American relations and the ongoing challenge of migration and drug trafficking. As tensions mount, the extent to which Rubio can bridge the gap between Trump's demands and regional realities will be crucial in determining the effectiveness of U.S. engagement in the hemisphere. The world will be watching as the U.S. navigates these treacherous waters, seeking alliances while contending with the specter of a rising China. In a political landscape increasingly defined by loyalty and controversy, the nomination of Pete Hegseth as Defense Secretary has sparked a wave of speculation and scrutiny. As he prepares to face Senate confirmation hearings alongside Attorney General nominee Pam Bondi, Hegseth's past and potential future in the Trump administration raises questions about his ability to navigate the turbulent waters of politics and public perception. Hegseth, a former Fox News personality and Army veteran, is set to testify before the Senate Armed Services Committee on January 14, 2025. His nomination follows a tumultuous period for the Pentagon, during which mainstream media outlets were ousted from the Pentagon's correspondence corridor, making way for pro-Trump news organizations. This reshuffling reinforces the growing divide between traditional media and outlets aligned with the former president's agenda.
Amid concerns about Hegseth's past, including allegations of personal misconduct and financial mismanagement during his tenure at veterans advocacy organizations, Trump has continued to back him.
"I'd be stunned if he doesn't make it through," remarked a source familiar with the situation, reflecting the belief that Hegseth still has the support needed for confirmation despite vocal reservations from some Senate Republicans. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley has voiced his support for Bondi, praising her record as Florida Attorney General. Grassley's enthusiasm for her nomination contrasts with the mixed sentiments surrounding Hegseth.
"There are questions, but as far as I can tell, there's no significant opposition,"
he noted, reflecting the precarious balance of power within the Senate, where Republicans can afford to lose only 4 votes before a nomination becomes endangered.
The broader context of Hegseth's nomination is shaped by President Trump's ongoing efforts to reshape the federal government.
A source close to Hegseth boasted about the removal of mainstream outlets from the Pentagon, framing it as a necessary step in a larger purge of perceived adversaries. This shift coincides with the Trump administration's controversial freeze on federal funds aimed at eliminating what they describe as Marxist policies from government operations. As Hegseth prepares for his confirmation hearing, the implications of his potential leadership at the Department of Defense extend beyond personal controversies. His appointment could signify a shift towards an administration increasingly comfortable with sidelining traditional checks and balances in favor of loyalty and ideological alignment. Observers are keenly aware that Hegseth's ability to weather scrutiny will not only impact his career but may also set a precedent for how future nominees navigate the confirmation process in an administration marked by political turbulence. In conclusion, as the January hearings approach, the political stakes for Hegseth and Bondi remain high. Their confirmations could either solidify Trump's influence on national security and justice or expose divisions within the Republican Party. The outcomes will likely resonate well beyond the immediate future, shaping the trajectory of the Trump administration and its relationship with Congress, the media, and the American public at large. In a contentious political landscape, the nomination of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as Secretary of Health and Human Services has ignited fierce debate within the U.S. Senate, reflecting deep divisions over public health and vaccine policy. Kennedy's history as a prominent anti-vaccine activist for over 2 decades has raised significant concerns among medical experts, leading to a detailed examination of the support he has garnered from within the medical community. A recent letter submitted to the Senate in support of Kennedy's nomination has come under scrutiny for listing numerous signatories, some of whom have faced disciplinary actions against their medical licenses. The Associated Press uncovered that among the nearly 800 individuals endorsing Kennedy were physicians whose licenses had been revoked or suspended, as well as non-physicians, including a certified public accountant and a firefighter/paramedic. This revelation has intensified doubts about the legitimacy and credibility of the support for Kennedy's nomination. Senator Bill Cassidy from Louisiana, a medical doctor himself, has voiced hesitancy regarding Kennedy's nomination. He expressed concern about Kennedy's long-standing anti-vaccine stance, stating, "I recognize, man, that if you come out unequivocally vaccines are safe, it does not cause autism, that would have an incredible impact." Cassidy's position is critical as he is a key vote in the Senate Health Committee, which is responsible for advancing the nomination. The letter of support for Kennedy was organized by Maha Action, led by Del Bigtree, a known anti-vaccine activist who has worked closely with Kennedy. In a statement, Emma Post, a spokesperson for Maha Action, claimed that the letter was circulated organically and was intended for physicians only, though it did not clarify how credentials were verified. This lack of transparency has further fueled skepticism about the motivations behind the support for Kennedy. Adding to the controversy, several signers of the letter have documented histories of disciplinary actions by medical boards. Notably Dr. Paul Thomas, who voluntarily surrendered his medical license after being found guilty of gross negligence, and Dr. Simone Gold, who was reprimanded following her involvement in the January 6 insurrection, both signed the letter. Gold, recently pardoned by former President Trump, defended Kennedy, asserting Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is an honorable and honest person with vast subject matter knowledge and experience.
Opponents of Kennedy's nomination have not remained silent.
A coalition of more than 18,000 physicians has sent a letter to the Senate asserting their qualifications and expertise in opposition to Kennedy's controversial views. This group, the Committee to Protect Healthcare, claims their signatories were thoroughly vetted, contrasting sharply with the support Kennedy received.
As the Senate prepares to vote on Kennedy's nomination, the pressure on Senator Cassidy continues to mount.
He has faced direct appeals from fellow party members, including Congressman Clay Higgins, who emphasized RFK is going to run HHS whether you like it or not. Cassidy has asserted that he will not be swayed by social media pressure, stating, "I didn't take an oath to listen to the chatter on Twitter." The unfolding debate around Kennedy's nomination highlights broader societal divides regarding public health policy and vaccine safety. With significant implications for health governance in the U.S., the outcome of this nomination could set a precedent for how the administration addresses contentious health issues in the future. As the Senate moves closer to a decision, the nation watches closely, aware that the ramifications of this vote could resonate far beyond the walls of Congress, influencing public health policies for years to come. As the political landscape shifts with the impending inauguration of Donald Trump, the focus turns to the cabinet nominees poised to shape his administration. Among the first to face Senate confirmation hearings are Pete Hegseth, the Defense Secretary designate, and Pam Bondi, nominated for Attorney General. The hearings are slated to take place on January 14, 2025, before their respective Senate committees, heightening anticipation surrounding their potential confirmations. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley expressed enthusiasm for Bondi's nomination, citing her track record as Florida's Attorney General. "I'm enthused with her work as Attorney General of Florida and what she's done as a prosecutor," Grassley remarked during an interview with Fox Business Network. He emphasized the importance of expediting her confirmation, especially in light of the recent terror attack in New Orleans, which underscored the urgency for national security leadership.
Hegseth, a former Fox News personality and Army veteran, faces a more complex path to confirmation.
Despite the support of the Republican majority, concerns linger over his past conduct, including allegations of financial mismanagement during his time at veterans advocacy groups and an accusation of sexual assault that dates back to 2017. However, sources indicate that none of Hegseth's Republican colleagues are actively opposing him, suggesting he may still secure the necessary votes for confirmation.
"He breathes the military.
That's all he talks about," said Sergeant Major Eric José, a former comrade who defended Hegseth's character amid the controversy. On the other hand, Bondi's nomination appears more straightforward, bolstered by endorsements from over 110 former Justice Department officials who urged her swift confirmation. They highlighted her extensive prosecutorial experience and her readiness to tackle pressing issues such as crime reduction and the opioid crisis. Bondi's recent work with the Trump-aligned America First Policy Institute further cements her alignment with the administration's priorities. As the confirmation process unfolds, the Republican majority in the Senate, which holds a 53-47 advantage, can afford to lose only 4 votes before any nominee's confirmation becomes precarious. This delicate balance of power adds to the scrutiny of both Hegseth and Bondi's qualifications.
Grassley has hinted at the likelihood of additional nominees, including FBI Director-designate Kash Patel, following Bondi's confirmation.
Looking ahead, the Senate will vote on a resolution to authorize committee hearings for Trump's nominations, with significant stakes involved.
Both nominees will undoubtedly face rigorous questioning as lawmakers evaluate their qualifications and potential impacts on U.S. policy.
As the administration gears up to tackle an array of pressing challenges, the outcomes of these confirmation hearings will set a critical tone for the incoming Trump administration and its overarching agenda. Elon Musk's recent acquisition of access to the U.S. Treasury's federal payment system has stirred considerable debate within political and financial circles, signaling a potential shift in how government spending is monitored and managed. This access granted by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent enables Musk and his team from the Department of Government Efficiency (DOGE) to scrutinize government expenditures more closely, arguably arming them with a powerful tool to influence fiscal policy. The move comes after a contentious week within the Treasury Department where tensions escalated over access to this sensitive system. A career civil servant, David Lebrick, who had resisted Musk's requests, was placed on administrative leave and subsequently retired, paving the way for Musk's team to step in. According to insiders, the access was not handed over lightly. It involved thorough background checks and security clearances for the new Treasury employees affiliated with DOGE. However, as of now, they have not gained operational capabilities and no government payments have been blocked. Musk's focus on the Treasury payment processes aligns with President Trump's broader agenda to streamline government spending, a directive Musk has embraced with fervor. Critiques from Musk have emerged over the Treasury's handling of payments, particularly regarding perceived fraudulent disbursements. The department is not rejecting enough payments as improper, he remarked on social media, reflecting a growing impatience with traditional bureaucratic mechanisms. The implications of this new access extend beyond mere oversight. It may provide the Trump administration with the ability to unilaterally restrict government spending that has been approved by Congress. This potential power grab has raised alarms among Democrats who caution that such political maneuvering could jeopardize essential government programs and services. Senator Ron Wyden, the top Democrat on the Senate Finance Committee, voiced strong concerns, stating, "To put it bluntly, these payment systems simply cannot fail, and any politically motivated meddling in them risks severe damage to our country and the economy." The controversy surrounding Musk's involvement with the Treasury intensifies when considering the potential conflicts of interest. His vast business portfolio, which includes companies that could benefit or suffer from government contracts, complicates the narrative further. Critics have pointed out that access to sensitive information regarding Social Security benefits and contracts with government suppliers could pose ethical dilemmas given Musk's direct stake in various industries. Simultaneously, Scott Bessent's confirmation as Secretary of the Treasury has been met with mixed reactions. Bessent, a former hedge fund manager with ties to prominent financial circles, is expected to navigate the complexities of fiscal policy amid a growing federal debt and ongoing economic challenges. His confirmation followed a Senate vote of 68 to 29, indicating a level of bipartisan support for his appointment. However, his association with Musk's initiatives may raise questions about the administration's commitment to transparent governance. As the dynamics within the Treasury unfold, the impact of Musk's access to the federal payment system will likely reverberate throughout the administration's fiscal strategies. The ability to monitor and potentially restrict government spending could fundamentally alter the relationship between the executive branch and Congress, particularly regarding appropriated funds. Observers will be keenly watching how this unprecedented arrangement plays out, especially as Bessent tackles pressing issues like the federal debt ceiling and potential trade tariffs. Looking forward, the combination of Musk's technological acumen and Bessent's financial expertise could yield a new chapter in government efficiency, or it could lead to significant pushback from Congress and the public if perceived as overreach. The coming months will be crucial in determining whether this initiative will enhance fiscal responsibility or sow further discord in an already contentious political landscape. In a political climate marked by intense scrutiny and fiery exchanges, the recent Senate confirmation hearings for President Donald Trump's nominees were no exception. The hearings showcased moments of tension, emotional testimony, and a glimpse into the administration's upcoming priorities. As the Senate works to fill key positions, the spotlight fell on nominees including Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for Secretary of Health and Human Services, Howard Lutnick for Commerce Secretary, and Kelly Loeffler for the Small Business Administration. The hearings began with a particularly heated exchange involving Kennedy, where Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse expressed grave concerns about the nominee's stance on vaccines, stating, "You frighten people." Whitehouse underscored the urgency for Kennedy to clarify his views, especially in light of a recent measles outbreak in Rhode Island. Kennedy, who has faced criticism for his previous comments on vaccines, defended himself, asserting that he does not oppose vaccinations. "All my children are vaccinated," he stated,
attempting to reassure lawmakers of his commitment to public health.
The atmosphere intensified further when Kennedy's testimony was interrupted by protesters, highlighting not just the contentious nature of the hearings but also the division surrounding public health policies. Senator Raphael Warnock challenged Kennedy on past remarks that compared the CDC to Nazi death camps, prompting a back-and-forth that underscored the nominees' controversial history. Although Kennedy denied making such comparisons, he acknowledged making comments about the injury rates of children, maintaining that his intent was to draw attention to serious issues rather than to undermine health organizations. Howard Lutnick, Trump's pick for Commerce Secretary, also faced rigorous questioning but shifted the tone with a deeply personal story. Sharing the tragedy of losing his brother in the 9/11 attacks, Lutnick expressed his commitment to serving the American people, stating, "I've made enough money in my life, it is now my chance to serve." His nomination was not without its controversies, however, as Lutnick criticized Canada's treatment of American dairy farmers, saying Canada treats our dairy farmers horribly. "That's got to end." This sentiment reflects ongoing tensions in U.S.-Canada trade relations, particularly regarding dairy tariffs and market access under the USMCA agreement. In a significant exchange regarding agricultural policy, Lutnick's remarks suggest that he may prioritize American farmers' interests amid a backdrop of complicated trade dynamics. "If Canada is going to rely on America for its economic growth, how about you treat our farmers, our ranchers, and our fishermen with respect?" he challenged, encapsulating a sentiment that resonates with many American producers who feel disadvantaged in cross-border trade. Kelly Loeffler, under consideration for the Small Business Administration, faced tough questioning regarding Trump's recent actions perceived as illegal, including the firing of inspectors general. Loeffler staunchly defended the president, asserting that his actions were within his rights. "These were not illegal actions," she stated emphatically, further entrenching the partisan divide on the committee. Amidst the confrontations, Senator Brian Schatz took the opportunity to address broader issues during Lutnick's hearing, pressing him on the importance of conducting a fair census and protecting the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration from potential threats posed by Project 2025, a conservative initiative aimed at dismantling various government functions. Lutnick promised to ensure an accurate census count and expressed eagerness to consult with Schatz on Pacific fisheries decisions, highlighting a potential area for collaboration amidst the political discord. As these hearings unfold, they not only reflect the stark divisions in U.S. politics but also set the stage for the administration's future direction. With pressing issues such as public health, trade policies, and governance at stake, the nominees' responses offer a glimpse into how the Trump administration plans to address these challenges head-on. The outcomes of these hearings will likely influence the administration's effectiveness in navigating complex domestic and international landscapes in the months to come.